Hey, so it's me, Dax, back with another one of your 30 Dates with Dax, where every day for 30 days I am answering another one of your questions related to challenges, struggles, concerns, worries, doubts, fears, just general desires around building an awesome coaching business, the actual practice of coaching, and or maybe some of the deeper rooted things about kind of some of your beliefs and some of your struggles that you have personally that are stopping you from showing up as an awesome and powerful coach. So today, day 16, or message number 16. So day 16, what are we talking about today? I've got an awesome question from David Elcoate. He says, if you lost everything and had to start from scratch with nothing, i.e. minimal cash flow, tribe, etc., what would you do and how would you rebuild? I love these kind of questions, right? Because, in fact, this is kind of something that I go through very, very regularly. I'm always asking myself, and the answer always comes back to the same handful of tasks for the same handful of reasons. So the handful of tasks, let's look at those first. What would you do if you lost your entire business, and along with the business you lost the ability to communicate with your tribe? Let's just say, for example, so much of my business now is run through Facebook, and let's say Facebook shut down completely, or they just delete my tribe completely, and I've got no tribe following me, and I have to open a new account, and nobody knows how to find me, and all that kind of stuff. What would I do? So I would do what I'm doing right now. Right? Ultimately, this is actually how you know that you're onto a good thing, because there isn't a different set of circumstances for here's what I do now because I've got some money and I've got some clients and I've got some tribe, and here's what I would do, kind of if it all went kind of pear-shaped. No, same thing. Create a ton of client-centric or customer-centric material. Just like these videos that I'm producing, right, where I talk about your struggles, your challenges, the things that you're kind of finding it hard to get through without some help. So I would create a ton of material. It might be in video format, it might be in PDFs, it might be kind of any number of ways. I would create that material anyway, and I'd create a lot of it. Off the back of creating that material, then next we need eyeballs, right? So obviously I would be putting it out in general Facebook land, and I'd be posting it all across my blog, and I'd be putting it anywhere where there was free social media. Remember, anywhere that I don't really have to spend a lot of money is going to be really useful because I've lost everything, right? So kind of I would get all of my LinkedIns and Twitters and everything else, doing as much as I could to point people to come across and find this awesome content of mine. When they come and find the awesome content of mine, I would be inviting them to step up into some form of mini course, like, for example, 5 days to solve your stress eating, or something like that, for example, right? I'm just trying to think for some of you guys as coaches. But I would create a mini course which people would then have to opt in for. And when they opt in, they get guided through the material that I've already pre-created for them. On top of that, then, so now my list is building, right? Now I'm building my list. I would be regularly sending material to my list, but saying to my list, hey, we've got some awesome stuff over in the tribe that I've built. So let's say kind of now I've got a forum, or Facebook have allowed me to start a new group, so I go in there and I do that, and whatever it happens to be, right? But ultimately, you see how I would create content. The content would be used as both the establishment of my expertise, the establishment of my desire and willingness to serve, to truly serve, the ability to get to know me and get to know what I'm about and whether my approach is resonant. I would then use that as the mini course. The mini course would bring people into the tribe to be communicating with me on a daily basis like this, because there's a very simple, the simplest relationship, the simplest ratio to understand is that the more frequently you're in front of your tribe, the more likely you are to create sales. That's so obvious, right? The more frequently in front of your tribe, the more likely you are to create sales. It doesn't matter what format, whether that be in email, whether that be in video, but like regardless of the methodology, you could say, well, Snapchat's better than this, and video is better than that, and this is better than that, and that's better. Regardless, the more frequently you're in front of people, the more likely you are to make sales. Next, the more often you create an invitation to sales in some way, shape, or form, the more likely you are to make sales, right? So that ability kind of to have something for people to actually buy, not just, hey, get on a strategy call with me, but maybe it's something a little bit more traditional, kind of the, if you will, the low end trigger purchase into a lower end kind of downloadable product or a downloadable service. My very, very first online product was sold for £17.99. It was a cookbook that went along with my elimination diet program, which I created many moons ago now. It's kind of like 18, 19 years ago, I think. Well, that went on to be used by almost 500,000 people, I think, right? 500,000 downloads. And for the longest time, I didn't actually sell anything alongside it. I just gave it to people, and I really wanted to help people. And then I was getting nagged so often about, but what about the actual meals, and what about meal plans and all that kind of stuff? I just decided to do a cookbook, and I created a £17.99 cookbook. And just at the end of every single email that went out to my elimination diet list was, hey, don't forget, you can grab a copy of the cookbook. Hey, don't forget, you can grab a copy of the cookbook. Don't forget, you can grab a copy of the cookbook. And I gave them the links, and every single day, a handful of sales would go through. Not a lot of money, right? Kind of $17.99, 4 or 5 sales a day on average. But that was happening every kind of day. And then was getting questions about specific kinds of, but what do I do? I'm a vegetarian. So I created the Vegetarian Elimination Diet Cookbook, and that was $17.99 as well. So these were just low-level things, but they were a background means for me to earn some money. Now, if I were doing that today, the big difference is that I would then take the money that I'm earning off of a fairly low-end product. I'm not saying to do something for $17.99, but maybe you've got a $47 product, a $97 product, a $197 product, where working with you for real might be, it might run to thousands to work with you for real, but you might give somebody the opportunity to get something fairly low level. Now you take the money that they're spending on the fairly low level product. Let's just for argument's sake say you've got a $97 product that people are starting to buy online. You take that and then you use that as the basis of your Facebook ads money, so that you now start targeting people to come to your opt-in, to go through your kind of your free stuff, to get access to the tribe. And now the tribe is building. Can you see how it all comes together? So many people say to you, it should all be about the tribe. And other people say to you, oh, you don't really need a tribe. You just put it, as long as you've got a good, strong mailing list. And other people say you don't even really need that. If you've got a good, strong following on Facebook or following on Twitter. My methodology has always been to have each part of my strategy support other parts of the strategy. Have my Facebook posts general out in the world, kind of show the world who Dax QnA is, and then use that as an invitation to come and find out some more stuff. You come and find out some more stuff by opting into something. When you opt into something, you get an invitation to come across to the tribe. Or if you're in the tribe, if you come to the tribe via another route, the tribe at some point offers you to invite you into jumping on a mailing list for something by finding out more about the mind map program, or finding more about the Guru project or whatever. And regardless, you can see they all feed into each other. And by them all feeding into each other, I'm deepening my relationship with my tribes faster, more strategically, and in a way where people actually feel that my knowledge, skill, ability, expertise, and not to mention my kind of genuine desire to help and care for people is being very, very well established, right? So what would I do if the shit hit the fan and I lost everything and had to start over again? I would do exactly what you guys see me do right now, and in fact what I'm doing this very second, which is I would produce a lot of content material. Let me just say this. The idea of taking a complete stranger to a strategy call and then trying to sell them off a strategy call, it's really good in theory, and I know some people have really been able to make it work for themselves, but they generally tend to be people very, very thick skins, very comfortable with salesmanship, and who don't mind being rejected for 80 to 100 calls per week because they know their numbers and they say but the 10 people that say yes every week more than make up for that. That's great for those people. I'm not one of those people. Not so much the thick skin thing. I'm not really hurt by people saying no. I just don't want to spend my life on phones, and I don't want to spend my life as a marketer. I want to spend my life as a coach who knows a bit about marketing and helps people do the stuff that makes marketing work. And really, there's only two things that make marketing work. And in other words, there's only really two things that make you money: the words you speak and the words you write. So if you're not speaking and you're not writing, people don't get to understand who you are, what you're about, what qualities you bring to an experience that they don't. And unfortunately, this generally tends to be the area that most people skip. They say, do you know what? I'm struggling for money at the moment. I haven't got time for all that blogging shit. I haven't got time for all that videoing shit. I haven't got time for any of that showing up shit. What I'll do is I'll keep trying to get myself clients. And then once I get to a certain threshold, then I'll start doing the content thing. The content is cause, the client is effect. If you don't address cause, in other words, if you haven't taught a client about who you are, what you do, how you do it, how that applies to them and their struggles, all you're ever doing is meeting a completely cold person who basically spends half the call trying to figure out, do they trust you yet? And usually the answer is no. Okay, so spend more time developing that trust. We've all heard of know, like, trust. It's not a Dax QnA thing, right? It's kind of well known and established in marketing and has been for decades upon decades. Well, don't ignore that, right? Help people get to know you, help people get to like you, help people get to trust you. How do you do that? By showing up, speaking words, writing words, telling them things, solving challenges that they're engaged in. You know, if it's being kept in here, or the only people that actually get to hear it, you say, well, I'm reserving that for the clients I actually work with and who actually pay me money. You are shooting yourself in the foot, right? So what would I do if I were building my business from scratch? Really, I would do exactly what I'm doing now. The only difference would be is that, you know, now I can spend a little bit more money on Facebook ads to move people into, and Facebook is a relatively new thing, or Facebook ads is a relatively new thing. I've tinkered with it for a long time. It's only these last probably 4 or 5 months where I've actually invested a fairly substantial amount of time, effort, energy, and money into that. Until then, my business was built by meeting people out in Facebook land and out in the various forums and stuff, inviting them across to something else, but engaging them in great conversations first, inviting them to something else from that invitation, moving them into my tribes, from being in my tribes, really serving them bloody well. I would never change that. I have no plans to change that, because basically continue doing what works. And the things that work to get you your first clients will still continue to work to get you your later clients and to get you your high-end clients. It's just that you have to strategically factor in a few other areas, right? To get somebody to pay you £97 is no different really to getting someone to pay you kind of £9,700 or £97,000 really, because it's still going to come down to the words you speak and the words you write and how you make them feel about both themselves and their challenge and about your ability to do that. What you have to do specifically for each end of the market, it subtly changes, but the actual principle remains the same. So again, what would I do? I would do exactly what I'm doing now. I would do exactly what I just explained to you. Speak and write, and speak and write, and speak and write, and speak and write, and speak and write. And don't ever stop speaking and writing. And if you say, I feel shit in front of a camera and I feel awful, great. Don't go in front of the camera yet, right? Don't cause yourself a bunch of stress. Just write more frequently. If you say, I'm not a great writer, then get in front of a camera more often. Find a way to speak and write. And if you can't do either, find someone who can help you by maybe interviewing you, asking you questions, or kind of just going to a pure Q&A format with people and say, hey, I'm answering some questions about this topic today. What would you like to know? And just Q&A it, right? Speak and write. I hope you found that useful. Don't expect you to agree. Feel free to challenge this. Feel free to call bullshit on it. But just please do enter some dialogue with me. I'd love to hear your feedback on that and how you feel about that as both an answer specifically about me and what I would do, but how you feel about that for yourself. Until next time, take care.